Hi, everyone. Good afternoon or good morning, I guess, wherever you're calling in from. Welcome to Empeon's webinar discussing the work number from Equifax. I really want to tell you how excited we are to share this fantastic solution as a helpful way to streamline employment verifications. First, let me introduce myself. Hi, I'm Morris Isaacson. I'm the EVP of Marketing and Sales at Empeon. As you know, at Empeon, we pride ourselves on being problem solvers. We are constantly seeking to improve the solutions we provide to you, our customers, and to help solve your business problems in the most efficient and effective ways possible. To that end, I'm very proud to announce our partnership with Equifax. It's through this partnership that we can bring you the work number. The work number automates income and employment verifications, like when employees apply for things like loans, credit, government benefits. If you're in HR, you know what a huge benefit this can be for your team. Are you curious to know how this works? Okay, I'm glad you asked. I guess you probably wouldn't be on this webinar if you weren't at least a little curious. This partnership will allow Equifax to securely and seamlessly run employment verifications for your employees by safely connecting with the Empeon system. The outcome is that we'll free up your HR team from handling verification requests manually, allowing them to focus on other important tasks. But that's really just scratching the surface. There is so much more to it. I hope you're ready to really understand how this works. Now, I'm honored to introduce our speaker, John Alden. John's the Senior Director of Alliances and Business Development at Equifax. John's been with Equifax for over 7 years and is responsible for enabling automated income and employment verifications from the work number. His aim is to reduce your workload and help your employees. John resides in St. Louis, Missouri, the headquarters of Equifax's Workforce Solutions, and he will guide us through the ways to use and benefit from the work number. Lastly, just as a reminder, for those of you attending today, the webinar recording will be emailed to you afterwards so you can revisit the information shared today. And we'll have time to review questions at the end. John, over to you.
Morris, thank you so much for that kind introduction. Good afternoon, everybody from St. Louis, Missouri. St. Louis is the business unit headquarters for Equifax. By way of background, I'm with Equifax Workforce Solutions. We focus primarily on HR, human resources technology. The work number is at the base of our business unit. Many of you may be familiar with Equifax, a credit reporting business out of Atlanta. That is a different line of business. So I'm not here to talk about your credit score. I am here to talk about employment verification. So thank you for joining. So as I mentioned, I am with Equifax. So we do have attorneys, and there's stuff that we have to kick off before we get to our regularly scheduled programming. So as a point, the information herein is intended as general guidance and is not intended to convey specific compliance, tax, or legal advice. For a legal opinion, please consult your lawyer. I am not a lawyer on TV, nor am I one on this webinar. This presentation is intended for the education and benefit of our customers, you, and potential customers, you. This presentation cannot be shared with third parties, although we would be happy to share this with you if you reach out to Morris afterwards. We can get this to you. The views expressed are those of the discussion leaders do not necessarily reflect the position of Equifax. So I am just here as a representative of being on the webinar, but not an official capacity. Copyright 2024, the rest of that is all good. And now we can get to it. So, long time ago, many moons, it used to be a very manual process for almost everything that is electronic today. It used to be a manual process and there'd be cash if you want to be in a taxi cab. You had to have cash. Now you can carry a credit card, or you can use an Uber and all you need is your phone. Everything happens instantly like that. If you go to a garage sale, you can use Square. It happens instantly, just like that. In the old days, some of you may remember that when you got a credit card, when you went to a vendor to buy something, sometimes they would pull up this little booklet. It was on rice paper with like 8-point font, and it was a list of suspended credit cards. A list of suspended credit cards would be printed on a monthly basis and shipped to gas stations and retail stores. So if the person at the register thought you looked like this could be, might be an issue here, then they would break out the book and look it up. Took time, took a lot of time, and made things very uneasy. Today, everything happens in an instant, and we want it all to happen now. So as we've moved from manual processes to electronic processes for verifications, we now have a service, which I'm going to share with you, that does all of the verification stuff in the background, which takes the labor off of your HR department, as well as de-risks the transaction from the labor department, and is always on for your employee. And that is the instantaneous effort that we have and is enabled by our new connection with Empeon. Your employers are living their everyday lives. They're buying a new car, they're qualifying for government benefits, obtaining a mortgage, applying for a credit line increase, getting a new job, or renting an apartment. They have life events that are happening all the time. You may or may not know this, but this is going on all the time. And only sometimes when somebody's like buying a car, do they end up in your HR department saying, hey, I need help here, expecting a call, something like that. This is going to automate everything, and it's going to deliver the verifications that your employees are asking for. And how do we do that? One of the ways is that the work number acts as a centralized payroll data source. So we have loan origination systems that are electronically tied to the work number. And that's for real estate, origination, underwriting, quality control, equity loans, things like that, apartment leasings. Loan origination systems also covers online loans, personal loans, student loans, cash advances, mobile phone contracts. We also support batch file submissions. Batch file submissions are if you are own a credit card, and oftentimes at the end of the year, you will see, oh, you are eligible for a credit line increase. That is done through a batch system where you have given them permission to occasionally check your income and employment verification. And they say, oh, you have made more money this year. You are eligible for a credit card line increase. That's a batch because they just come in and run those in tens of thousands or millions at a time. We have dealer management systems for autos, except when it was CDK. Hopefully that's all back, but that is electronically how everything is supposed to work. And we'll be coming back to that use case later on in the webinar. And then we have systems-to-systems integrations for background screeners and specifically government benefits. And I'll get into more detail on the government benefits. But it's all happening electronically in the background. The work number provides security, privacy, and transparency. It's important for you to know that there is absolute transparency to the employee. They can come in and pull their employment data reports. They can see who has looked at their employment information. It can only be people that they have given their specific permission to do so. And the only people that can access the work number are credentialed verifiers. The information that is in the work number is not sold or used for anything other than employment verifications that are triggered by your employee, the consumer. We are governed by the FCRA, Fair Credit Reporting Act. Everything we do is regulated. This is a regulated service. We can only deliver that verification, completing that verification as a service to your employee when they ask for this to be done. And we provide absolute transparency to the employer because we're going to be able to, through Empeon, we're going to be able to show you not who, but the types of transactions that verifications that we're seeing. Employment, income, social services. We'll be able to share that with you on an ongoing basis so you can see what is happening. Again, total transparency. And again, this only happens at the behest and initiation of the consumer. Employee consent is at the basis of everything that we do. The FCRA requires that verifiers have a permissible purpose to receive consumer data. There is a list of permissible purposes that they have to follow. All of the verifiers that are coming into The Work Number are credentialed. As mentioned, we're FCRA regulated. The verifiers have to keep an auditable record of that consent of the consumer. So Uncle Sam can come back to the verifier and say, show me the consents for these 10,000 transactions. And they have to be able to support that. Again, this is regulated. This is a permission consent-based system. When we're credentialing a verifier, we have to go through an audible credentialing process so that we can show that we have vetted this verifier to the best of our ability. And not surprisingly, some of them don't pass. And even more not surprisingly, some of them are trying to dress up as a new entrant competitor, trying to understand how we do business. The key is consent drives everything, and it's tracked all the way through. This is a closed loop system specifically for verification of employment and verification of income. We're safeguarding the employee data. Everybody always asks, well, what about the cyber incident of 2018? We're a whole new different company. We've spent over $5 billion on security. We are now experts in security and cyber attacks. We even have a stand-up division that enterprises can come to us and we'll help them solve the issue that they're having if they're having a cyber attack, or how to remedy that afterwards. As I mentioned, verifier clients are credentialed to verify the legitimacy of the organization. Verifiers in all transactions are subject to planned and random audits to help ensure the proper usage of the data received. Individual users are authenticated at login and provide a clear line of sight to who is requesting these verifications. And lastly, we have globally recognized certifications in data management. Bitrate rates us the highest, most secure organization in the finance sector. Empeon took us through a very diligent information security review, and I can assure you that we passed, and your data and your employees' data is secure with us. So let's go to a use case. Here's George. He's 56. He's in manufacturing, and he wants to buy a car this weekend. And he wants to get the best possible loan rate, which today, okay, everything's 8%, but maybe it could be 9. So, but let's just try and get the best today, which is 8. And he's got a less than perfect credit score. George is 46% more likely to have his auto loan funded when his data is in the work number. Scenario number 1, George's information is not on the work number. It's Saturday, his employer is unavailable to verify. George is sent home to search for his pay stubs. He's not going to be getting his car today. Scenario number 2, George's information is on the work number, and George's income and employment status are verified immediately. Now he drives home in his new car. Coming back to scenario number 1, and this is something you probably are familiar with, and it shouldn't be going on, is that when you're not on the work number, an employee is buying something rather important like an automobile, they come to your HR department and say, hey, Susie, Johnny, I'm buying a car, expect a call from so-and-so at John's GMC. Now make sure that you tell them, include all my bonuses, and make sure that you include that bonus that both know that I'm going to hit in September. And then they sit, and then they come back to HR and say, have you gotten the call yet? And what the HR department feels is that the employee hovers and wants to know the exact thing that happened. When the HR person says, I will let you know when they call, that's fine. Person goes back to his desk. HR says they called. What did you say? And it's very transactional, and it should just happen in the background. Your HR department should not be in the middle of that transaction. They have better, more important things to do, and certainly things that don't have the risk of running afoul if you give the wrong information, especially when it comes to a background check. Use case number 2, employee profile. Krista, she's 26, she's in retail. She receives government benefits to help support her young family. Scenario number 1, her information is not on the work number. Krista's benefits are delayed as manual forms are submitted to the agency, by the agency to her new employer. She feels embarrassed about the situation and really doesn't want to talk about it. And she's embarrassed about her financial situation. And she's not going to be getting those benefits today. Scenario number 2 is her information is on the work number. Her income is verified instantly. And if she meets the criteria for the income and she qualifies for those services, she can walk out with her SNAP card right then and there. A fascinating thing that we've learned over the last several years is as we have gone down market, and when we see employers that have 30, 50 or people or less, or they're in staffing, we see social service verifications at 30% of the verifications. For context, if somebody's on Workday, so Workday is typically employers with 5,000 employees or more, so big enterprises. Financial wellness is part of that organization, a lot of white collar. And an employer with Workday, we see 1% social service verifications, maybe two. So when you go to 30%, as you go down market, these are people who are not getting a full 40 hours. They may work a couple of different jobs, and they're right in at minimum wage. By being on the work number, you're enabling these people to quickly have access to those services that they're qualified for. And most importantly, not only helping them do that in a quick and secure and private way, your HR department is out of the middle of that transaction. I do not know a single HR professional that I've met in over 7 years that wants to be in the middle of that transaction. And with the work number, they won't be. So how it works. The employee is wanting to buy a house. They initiate a transaction. It goes to the credential verifier, whether that's a mortgage, auto, credit card line increase, background screen, or whatever. That credential verifier then comes to the work number, asks for that data. We provide that verification. It goes back to the credential verifier, and they're able to make a decision. That's especially important when you're applying for something online. Nobody likes to see that clock spin for too long. We have service level agreements with the verifiers where we must deliver this information in sub-second time. That's why the connection that we have built with Empeon is strong and robust so that we can support and meet those SLAs. And so with Empeon on the right side of this equation, they are providing us with the payroll data of your employees so that we can deliver this service on their behalf. And it's free to the employee and free to the employer. How does that work, John? The verifiers pay us, Equifax, for the privilege and ease to access the work number 24/7, 365. They want to make a decision as soon as possible. They know that by going to the work number first, they will be able to make that decision. And again, you can see a very linear path on how simply this lays out. We're not asking you to do anything breaking breaking brand new right now. As it sits today in the work number, there are 3.4 million businesses, 3.4 million employer contributors that are in the work number. We have over 20 of Empion's peers that are in the work number today. This is a huge benefit for you all, because in the past, the only people that were really able to deliver the work number were people like ADP, Paychex, Paylocity, all the big boys. Now we're bringing it to you, and you're getting the service that only in the past the largest payroll providers have. There are 180 million active payroll records in the work number today. We have 48,000 credentialed verifiers that hit the work number. The verifiers know that with 180 million active records, the quickest, most sure way to get that verification is to go to the work number first every time. That's called top of the waterfall, meaning they're going to come to Equifax first every time. Why am I harping on this? That's because there is nothing to explain to your employees on how to get to the work number. In the old days, in fact, the work number was a 1-800 number, and that's how it was called, the work number. And the employee actually had a little cardboard card that had the Equifax 1-900 number. That's how we make money then. Then it became an 800 number, and it had the employee's number on that. So then the car dealer business manager would dial that 800 number, input this individual's information, and then digitally get that read back to him or her on the phone. Enablement and activation was a huge part of rolling this out to large enterprises when we first started. Now, there is no activation plan, because almost every verifier in the US comes to the work number first. It just happens in the background all day long. I've met with some of our customers that have had the work number for more than 3 years, and they forget. They forget that they're on the work number because it just works in the background. The employer doesn't have to do anything because it works in the background. And if and on the odd chance that the employer does get a verification request, you say, thanks, but I'm on the work number, and you're done. The work number is also always on, as I mentioned. 25% of the verifications are after hours, which is no surprise. That's when you and I buy our stuff as well. So I'm coming to the end here, and that is the presentation. Morris, I'll turn it over to you so we can respond to any questions out there. We're happy to field anything that you guys have.
Amazing. John, thank you. That was a fantastic presentation. And I just want to echo, we are very excited for this partnership with Equifax and the work number. We do have some questions that have come in. I'm going to try to read those off. First one here, the question I think is as follows. He says, income verification usually asks for a breakdown of different wages, such as regular hours, overtime, PTO, bonus, and add-on wages. These figures are driven by different earning codes, of which each employer has a unique setup. So how does Equifax know which code to map to what?
We have worked extensively with Empeon to be able to map these codes. So we've already done that on your behalf. And we code them into several top-line different buckets. But yes, that is a great question. And yes, we have a process, and we have figured that out. And the question also, there's usually a question is, do I have a cold? No, I always sound like this. I was blessed with a gravelly voice.
Thanks, John. Another question here. How does the verifier know that the employee data is in the work number?
They don't know. They have a high probability to believe that it will be. So they will always check it first. They know that the highest probability of getting that verification is to go to the work number first. That's what they know, and that's how they program their equipment and their waterfalls.
Fantastic, thank you. One more here. What percentage of verifiers use this service?
I all the largest, all the largest. We're still making inroads with on the auto side. All the major credit cards, all the major banks, all the major mortgages, all the major background screeners, they're all in there. The people that are the businesses verifiers that are not in the work number are typically smaller organizations that do not want to pay for that access. So the guy that sells 5 cars on the corner, he's a verifier. He or she is a verifier. They're not necessarily going to be one of the verifiers that is going to be using our system. And that's the distinction between the big boys and the credential. The biggest verifiers are with us. There's other verifiers that are not, but they're smaller and they choose not to because they're trying to save money. So that's why when they call you, you say, go ahead and use the work number because I'm not messing with this.
Got it. Does government assistance use this?
Yes, we are with state, federal, and local institutions. Our government business is growing very, very quickly. It's ballooned over the last 24 months as we continue to add agencies to this. So everything from SNAP to Medicare, Medicaid, across the board, they're all wired in.
Fantastic. Thank you. Just a few more questions we've got here. Once I've signed up, do I need to notify my employees of the service?
You don't have to, but if you'd like to, it's good for them to know because it's always on. It's good for you to, as an employer, to say, look what I'm doing for you. I'm enabling you to get this access to this credit 24/7. I'm giving you a path to possibly get a lower interest rate because now your income is verified as opposed to stated, just something written down on a piece of paper that hasn't been verified. So while you don't have to share it with your employees, it's a good thing to do because you're doing them a tremendous, delivering them a tremendous benefit.
Fantastic. Another question we've got here, who pays for the verifications?
The verifiers pay for the verifications. So they pay us for the privilege and convenience of processing these verifications in sub-second time, 24/7 by 365. It's a huge benefit for them because they are able to process and decision quickly. The quicker they can decision, the sooner they can deliver that service and then get paid. So that's why they pay us to come in.
Fantastic. Thank you, John. Just one more question we've got here. What information is available to a verifier?
Standard payroll information. So, and that's it. And that information, that verification can only be used to that verifier once. It's stored for audit purposes, but we cannot use that for any other purpose ever again. So when that employee makes another request, we'll deliver that verification and then put that in the audit file as well. So it's strictly employment income.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. I think that covers all the questions that we've received. Oh, wait, I think we've got one more coming in here. How do employees approve a verifier?
So the employee, when he or she is requesting a good or service, in that application, they have to give their consent to that verifier to verify their employment and income. The employee is choosing the verifier because the employee is choosing that provider of that good or service to verify their income and employment. So this only triggers when the employee has initiated it, and it can only come from a verifier to whom that employee is asking for that good or service. I hope that helps make sense.
Yes, thank you. Okay. I think that covers us for today. I want to thank everyone for taking the time to join the webinar. As we mentioned, the recording will be sent around afterwards. Thank you to John and the Equifax team for partnering with us at Empeon, and we're wishing everyone a great day.
Thank you, Morris. Thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate it. It's been a pleasure serving you.
Take care, everyone.